All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the June 3rd, 2025 iteration of the Kubernetes SIG-Windows community meeting. As always, these meetings are recorded and uploaded to YouTube, so be sure to adhere to the CNCF Code of Conduct. Let's get started with some announcements. I think, James, did you have...
Yeah,
Um,
I added both of these.
okay.
Yeah, so the first one was that Calico. So we had moved all the Calico in the testing repo over to upstream Calico a couple months ago or a month ago or something. And then I also went over to CapZ and updated all their tooling to use the latest versions. Their tooling is a little bit more automated, and so it required a bunch of changes in Calico. But I got all those merged and checked in and a release out of Calico, and then got all the tests passing in CapZ. So now CapZ is now using the latest thing. And so we've now removed, and so then I merged the PR. I think we talked about this about a month ago, but we merged the PR to remove all of the kind of stuff that we had done initially to bootstrap all this. And so just FYI, a pretty big milestone, I would say. um, so.
Yeah, that's great. I think there's a little bit of ongoing burden for the building those images and everything, and I think it's good to have that expertise all just in the Calico docs and everything. Let me do. Yep.
Yeah, I don't see Pedro on the call here, but he he helped make sure that all that got upstream. So thanks to him.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions for James or anybody about these changes? Cool. All right. You want to handle the next announcement too, James?
Sure. Yeah. And I think a couple weeks ago I announced that I was going to be stepping down, and we announced Yongling as the new lead, and so that PR has merged. So congratulations, welcome. Really excited. Um, and I think there's a few more things. I'm sure there's some other spots where we'll need to clean up. As you find them, just let us know and we'll get them moved over. But I've got a bunch of PRs to do the initial work.
Yeah, there's a lot of PRs that change all of that. So hopefully this will go over some soon. And yeah, thanks you for everything to James and congratulations you on the hopefully. Well, gonna really look forward to working with you too more. Does anybody have any questions or comments or about that?
Congrats, Fiona.
Yeah, thank you for the help.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, does anybody have anything else they'd like to announce? The one thing, I guess one thing that I was tracking is I think enhancements freeze is the June 20th, but the PRR team has I think they said that they're being a little bit more firm and will not review any KEP updates that don't have the main update done by June 12th, which is next Thursday. So let me add that a second.
Mark, what does a PRR
PRR is
stands
there's a
for?
production readiness review. So for
Uh,
the as part of the Kubernetes enhancement proposal review process, there's a separate team. So there's a separate team called the PRR team, and their job is to add reviews to kind of they serve as like a so normally the KEPs are like reviewed and approved by SIGs, like by the SIGs that
mm-hmm,
are either participating or yeah, or related to that, and they offer reviews in terms of like the technical expertise about how that
mm,
works. And there's a separate team of reviewers called the production readiness team that will also I think since maybe 10 releases ago, their reviews are also required to just make sure that things are like what's the best way of putting this? To make sure that there aren't unintended like side effects for enabling these features or promoting these features for the general user. So they focus more on like upgrade and downgrade ability. Like could enabling this feature kind of cause issues in the cluster? What happens if half of the nodes have the feature enabled and the other half don't? How do like how do rollbacks and things work like that? So that's just another kind of part of the CAP process. And part of the PR in the CAP, there is a section that says this is like the PRR questionnaires, and there are different sections of that that are required for to be filled out and reviewed by the PRR team for promoting the different CAPs to from beta to like alpha to beta and beta to stable. I would say in the past the pool of reviewers for this was quite small, but they've been working to kind of groom and add more reviewers to the pool. So I think that that's been pretty nice. I think we discussed before, and there was two CAPs that we were planning on promoting. One was the Windows Node shutdown, and the other was the cube feature gates and things like that. I believe, Yuan, you're going to handle the CAP updates for the Windows Node shutdown CAP, right? And Dawei, I think you're going to handle promoting the WinDSR and Win overlay feature gates to GA. Is that correct?
Yes. For the shutdown, for the from alpha to beta, we also need to go through another CAP review, update and review.
Yeah, there at minimum there's a cap.yaml. Where is it? Yeah.
Okay. Need to up, and right now I'm trying to add more tests. I'm wondering, are there any sequence we need to go review the CAP first and add the test, or are there any order?
For the additional tests, I don't think we need to have the cap approved first, but in order to like update the feature gates and things like that, we would definitely need to wait until the cap is approved by the enhancements team. For we can check real quick. So there's this cap.yaml, and at a minimum, this required to update the latest milestone and the stage that we're targeting for this cap cycle. And possibly also a couple of fields like the history in here. But we can just check real quick. Yeah, so this has the graduation criteria, and we have the sufficient. I mean, that ideally would be. I think that that's a little bit vague, but no, I think there shouldn't be anything stopping us from adding test coverage to a feature, even if it is an alpha for the release, even if this isn't progressing to beta this release, but I think we do want to target that. And then also I can just show there is the PRR section, and this is stuff for. I wanted to show there's extra comments that aren't visible in the markdown or in the markdown view. So where is it? Yeah, so here's the production. No, where is it? I think it should be here, right? Sorry. Yeah, so there's some comments here that say which sections are required for going to alpha from alpha to beta. We might have everything filled out here, but it would be good to double check because the PRR team will look at this and say these fields are required for going to alpha or beta. They may be blocked out in the markdown, but I believe we've filled all of this out in advance. Yep. Yeah, and so it's I think as part of this, one of the leads, either I can do this or we can use this as an time to verify that you have access to do this. For the enhancements issues, there's a label that needs to get added for each release that we want to opt those in. I can sync up with you offline to do that. And then we should work on getting the cap update PRs open.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's one of the PRs that didn't merge yet.
Okay, the groups.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on then. Sorry, that was kind of a long way to go. I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody here who is on who isn't part of the call. So I think let's just skip that since we're already halfway through the meeting. Next part is I saw last week Signode had discussed that they are planning on dropping support for Containerd 1.7 in the 134 release cycle. I missed this part of the meeting, but hopefully the recording has happened. But I'd be interested in that too. I do think that that's kind of relevant because some of at least some of our test passes are still on Containerd 1.7.
Right.
So I think we probably want to spend some time this release, like early on this release cycle, um, switching all of the master test passes, the test passes that run against master to Containerd 2.0, and we could possibly keep a Containerd 1.7 test pass around just to either see what's happening or get a signal of when that is actually like when those changes do merge if we don't catch it beforehand. But I think that there was some effort recently to make sure that the Containerd 2 test passes that were from from the release and also the one from the nightly builds that we have were green.
Yep.
Do you have any? I think Lynn, you were looking at that. Do you have any comments or?
Yeah, I think we're in a good shape right now. Both of the nightly one, which is built from the source of the Containerd repository, as well as the Containerd, which is pulling from the release endpoint. Yeah. So other than this flaky SIG networking failed ones, it looks largely green. These, yeah, unrun one is because of the VMs not available in the subscription for a particular region.
Okay, just capacity issues.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not something that I'm too concerned about for at least with respect to the Containerd 2.0 transition.
Yeah, I think that we should be ready to bump up the version.
Okay, yeah,
Is
so I
there a
think
particular version the SIG node want to target, or it doesn't matter?
I think
think we're testing 2.1. We
I
skipped
think
all the
any of
2.0
the
ones.
2.x ones. Like I said, I missed that meeting, and I noticed that this morning. I will try and see if there's a recording available, or just I'm sure there's a discussion happening in an issue somewhere too.
Mm.
So yeah, I think the next step then is to probably try and hope that these are just capacity issues too. Switch yeah, the master test passes that we have, including the serial slow jobs over to Containerd 2.0.
Okay.
Yep. So that's
Sorry, yeah, for the capacity related, I remember what I checked is 2 times is from North Europe.
Yep, I saw
Okay,
one too.
okay. So maybe we can increase the quota or maybe remove North Europe from our touched region.
yeah, I think well there's I forget how it works now, but we could look it up. I think that there's like a list of preferred region, well, a list of regions that we randomly choose in a bash script in the capz repository today, and it gets randomly chosen from one of those. I think we can just remove North Europe if if that is showing capacity issues. Is that still? Do you remember? Is that still what we do with that, James?
Yeah, we have a list of regions that we publish the images to. And so if we're running out of quota, we can look and see, make sure, double check that one of those regions have the quota that we would expect. And if And then we can increase it if we need to. So that's what's happening.
Or remove from the
Or move
list.
it, or move it, or remove it from the list, or add a different one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those things are kind of dynamic over time. Like it might be good for a year, and then all of a sudden, like
Mm.
something changes in the region, and we have to kind of readjust.
Mm. Yeah.
And Mark, I do have one issue, not related to this test, is if you scroll down to the previous weeks, the 20th, there is a CRI only stats going to beta.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who owns that? Is the SIG-Node people owns that?
Yeah, that's SIG-Node.
Okay. Do
Let's
we need to do anything for that at all, or that they, because there's only one feature gate for that, so I would imagine if they move to beta, then the Windows side of the world is also moved to beta.
Yeah, my understanding, and I think James, you were a little bit more involved with that, right? The Windows implementation was done, and the container D side of that for Windows was also done. So we are mostly just waiting for Node to progress that feature gate to beta.
Yeah, there are a few bugs, but they can be treated as a bug. But a lot, quite some wiring is already done. But I just don't know, do we need to do anything to help push it to beta, or is it even in SIG-Node's plan to move it to beta for
They've been doing kept planning
1.34?
the last release and this release. We can where is their kept planning? They have a spreadsheet. Let me see if I can find it.
While Mark's finding that, the thing that I've done in the past is go to the SIG-Node meeting where they do the planning for the KEPs to get the updates on how they're progressing that. So I think they were working, I think it had just fallen below the cut line that they kind of came up with for their priorities last time, because there was like one major thing missing in Container D for Linux. But it should potentially be solved this time. But that's where I go is SIG-Windows. Peter Hunt was at least leading that at when a year or two ago.
I see. Yeah, I don't have calendar for the SIG-Nodes meeting. And do they do the planning separately from their regular weekly sync up?
No, the past week and this week they are going over all of the keps, and there's a lot. And so it looks like it's here. What was the kep number? 2317. I guess we can maybe see it
Yeah.
if it's on the board. And I've been going through this and making sure they have resources to do reviews and everything. It looks like it's in status triage, so I'm guessing they did not discuss it last week, but I do see on the agenda that today is kept planning. No, it was kept planning part 2. Yeah, so kept planning part 2. So I
Alright.
think in a couple minutes, I'm planning on attending that in a couple minutes.
Yeah, please. I can't make it anyway. So yeah, Mark, if you will be there, and let us know how they decide this one.
Yep. Yeah, so yeah, it's triage. So I'm guessing we're gonna look at these today.
All of these? Oh, that's a long list.
Awesome.
Who would need a part 3? This is a long list.
Yep. Yes, just hasn't been discussed for 134 yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, does anybody have anything else to discuss? If not, I think that's the end of the agenda.
Yeah, for the test, I mean, another issue that we are still revert back to the image. That's a issue we must address. But yeah, but as a failure is not deterministic, it's really hard to figure out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unfortunately. Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording then. Thanks, everybody.